Travel is all about choosing your own adventure. With your Chase Sapphire Reserve card, sometimes that means a ski trip at a luxury lodge in the Swiss Alps with a few of your closest friends. And other times, it means a resort on a private beach with no one else in sight. Wherever you decide to go, find the detail that moves you with unique benefits at hand-selected hotels from Sapphire Reserve. Chase, make more of what's yours. Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve.
Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Both presidential candidates are making their closing arguments.
So the polling has just been much tighter this time around for a long time now.
The race is the closest in recent history.
It is going to be an active and kind of wild and unpredictable night in all likelihood.
There are about 7 other states that are true toss-ups. 16% states only. The 6% are decided.
Hello and welcome to Immigrantly. I'm your host, Saadia Khan. Today is election day here in the US. So rather than releasing a new episode, I wanted to have an honest conversation with all of you. I know it's been a while since we connected like this, and today feels like a good moment to just be candid. I'm not going to lie. I am feeling a mix of emotions, including anxiety, anger, and honestly, a little bit of hopelessness. I know that's not the most inspiring way to start this episode, but I promised honesty. This election cycle has felt particularly draining. For the last year, we've heard arguments that are exhausting, and for many of us, this moment carries a weight that's hard to put into words. Now, as someone who's literally voted in every election, local, state, and national, I've always believed in showing up, even when the choices haven't been that great. But today, as I filled out my ballot, I couldn't shake a troubling thought. I really don't feel connected to either presidential candidate. Sure, one is clearly more dangerous than the other, but the sense of discontentment is more about just the names on the ballot. It's about a system that continues to fail so many of us, especially immigrants and marginalized communities. The system itself feels rigid, stuck, and designed to ignore the voices that don't fit neatly into its boxes. Earlier this year, I had a conversation with someone that's been replaying in my mind all morning. It was back in January with a well-known journalist, someone I truly respect. We were talking about the upcoming election, and I brought up the genocide in Gaza. I explained to this person that for many Muslims in America, what's happening in Gaza is a defining issue, one that will shape who they vote for in November. And you know what she said? Well, she dismissed it, called it a single issue, was surprised that people were thinking about Gaza as one of the most important issues when it came to voting. That stung, but it also indicated to me how clueless mainstream media is. Because Gaza isn't just a single issue. To me, it's about human rights, dignity, and the very core of our values. To call it a single issue reduces it to just that, just another political checkbox which it isn't. I was a teenager when genocide in Bosnia occurred. I have studied genocide as an activist. And for me to let that happen without any real consequences is the biggest moral failure of our times. And to be clear, it's not just Muslims who feel this way. Anyone who believes in justice understands that Gaza represents one of the biggest moral questions of our time. But you know what? I am still voting. Because as flawed as this system is, choosing not to participate isn't an option for me. Voting is about making our voices heard, even if that voice carries frustration or dissent. And look, I am not going to tell a Palestinian family living in Michigan who to vote for. Because I am not Palestinian, I am not in their shoes, I cannot fathom the pain that they are enduring. But here's what I will say. If you are feeling so disillusioned that you're considering leaving your ballot blank, I totally get it, and I still encourage you to show up. Even a blank ballot counts. It's a way to register your dissatisfaction and assert that you're present, that you took the time and energy to go to vote, and you left your blank ballot as a protest to what's happening. Your presence, your voice, even through a blank ballot counts, especially when the system doesn't seem to care. Because voting isn't just about us. It's for the people who can't vote, our undocumented neighbors, our family members without legal status, or even those in marginalized communities who are discouraged by voter suppression. It's about using our privilege as voters to amplify voices that are silenced. And yes, leaving a blank ballot is also indication or support for Palestinians in Gaza. So as you think about whether to vote today, I hope you reflect deeply on what this moment means, not just for you, but for those around you. Whether you vote with hope, frustration, or simply out of duty, remember that real change is slow and complex. It's built through a mix of different tools, such as voting, protesting, community work, and advocacy. And I get it, voting is just one part of that effort, but it's an important one. So, if you can, make your way to the polling station, even it's just to show that you're not giving up. Thank you for listening to me, for spending these 5 minutes with my thoughts. Come back next week when I have a new Immigrantly episode. This episode was produced and written by me. Editorial review was done by Shay Yu. Our sound designer and editor is Lou Raskin. Immigrantly theme music is done by Simon Hutchinson. Other music by Epidemic Sound. Take care and be kind to yourself.